Hi, everyone. My name's Nikki McKechnie, and I'm the Director of Corporate Communications for Sable Resources. I'd like to thank you all for joining at the webinar today. We will be getting started in just a few moments, and I'd just like to go over a few things. All attendees are muted and automatically have your video cameras turned off. On your screens, you will see a Q&A tab on the bottom, as Ruben will be hosting a live question and answer session at the end of the presentation. So please feel free to type in anything you would like to have asked, and we will enable the option to submit questions anonymously. So please don't be shy. So we're just going to wait a couple more minutes to get everything started, let a few more people join, and I'll do an introduction to Ruben. Okay, I think we're ready to get started. I'd like to introduce Sable's President and CEO, Ruben Padilla.
Hello, everybody. One more time, thank you for being in one of our webinars. In this case, is a very exciting time because it's about the first two holes that we drill the El Fierro project, and are the two results that we have on those two holes. You saw this basically following. This is a webinar to follow the press release that we put out on Tuesday. Again, the same thing that we do every time with these webinars is to give the same introduction to remind everybody about the project, and also for the new people to present them a summary of the project. On the left side, you can see a map of Chile on the left side, and the yellow lines separate Argentina. There's a province of San Juan on the right, from Chile on the left. The lines that you can see here on orange is the mineral belt of the Pascualama El Indio mineral belt that runs from all the way down. In this moment, we know for the rocks edges for our Don Julio project. And we also have 50 kilometers east of Peladero and Pascualama, a big mining district. We have our El Fierro project with 46,000 hectares. And if probably you remember our previous press release, we also announced our new project area of La Poncha. So we have three projects aligned that you can see right here: Don Julio, La Poncha, and El Fierro, with more than 140,000 hectares now in the province of San Juan. Now, going straight to El Fierro, on the right side, you can see a map. The scale down there is 2 kilometers. And there are three areas that we know in this moment for now, with suboutcropping mineralization in veins. That's El Fierro Bajo. That's the one that we're going to talk about today. We have Fierro Alto, 6 kilometers away to the west. And then we have La Verde. This is basically a new zone that we discovered a couple of months ago. It's growing very fast. It's another 2-3 kilometers north of Fierro Alto. In Lagunillas, there is a new zone that we have been discovering the last few weeks. And we are discovering more veins suboutcropping. So now we are defining at least 8 kilometers by 5.5 kilometers area of a vein field, really. Here's what this is a vein field with more than 8.5 kilometers of suboutcropping veins so far. So that's one of the important things about this project is the numbers of kilometers of veins. And really, every time that we do more prospecting, we are finding more of them. So it's going to grow. And another important thing is the kind of surface grade that we are finding any sample of 1 kilo silver. That's the kind of footprint that makes this project interesting. Now, going in more detail, you can see now the samples. The same areas: Fierro Bajo, Fierro Alto, La Verde, and Lagunillas. Those white dots, circles with the black dots in the middle, are the drill holes that we have drilled so far. We completed 20 holes so far. We are drilling the hole 21, 2,230 meters of drilled so far. We only have results from the first two holes from Fierro Bajo. The other holes are now in the lab. And mapping and reconnaissance has been going in parallel. And like I said, we went from 4 kilometers of veins to more than 8.5 kilometers in this moment. The next slide that we're going to see, you can see there's something interesting. You can see, for example, in La Verde, those lines that you can see there are dikes that are hosted by fault zones, and the veins, in many cases, follow the structure that is hosting the dike. So the geophysics, for example, helping us a lot in these landscape images to find extensions of suboutcropping veins, because in La Verde, for example, we just went to follow this lineament here that also we can see in geophysics, and we found the structural outcropping for 2.5 kilometers now. Same thing you can see in Fierro Bajo. The press release that we had when we announced Fierro Bajo was only in this area, but now we have more sample going for another 2 kilometers to the northwest. So it's the 2 kilometers that we know of extension of the main veins here, and another 2 kilometers to the northwest now. So now let's go and see a little detail of Fierro Bajo and the position of the two holes that were released a couple of days ago. In the image down here, you can see probably they're in black. You could probably don't see them very well, but this is hole number 1 in here and hole number 2. They are separated almost 450 meters along a strike, along the vein that we call the A vein. In the next sections, I will show you a cross section looking northwest that will see the results of this hole number 1. And then later we're going to see a similar section looking to the northwest to see hole number 2. So that's the section. You can see that's the position. The drill hole was drilled from the south to the north. That's the outcropping vein. We took a sample there of 971 grams silver equivalent over 0.4 meters very early on. We then access some of the small underground artisanal workings. They're very small tunnels there, but they follow a few meters along strike. And we took, when the sample that we took right underneath the section, it was 0.6 meters of 4.5 kilos of silver. And basically it's equivalent to have a drill hole there. The first hole, and then we drill the hole number 1. That is the one that has 783 grams silver equivalent over 1 meter, with a core zone of 0.5 meters of 1.5 kilo silver. So very good to see the continuity from surface with the small underground working, and now the drill holes for almost 90-meter depth along this structure, and keeping the high silver values, easy over 1 kilo, as you can see here. The style of mineralization you can see in the core, it was basically the sample come from here, the 1 meter samples ending in here. That's the one that all included 1 meter is 783 grams silver equivalent. And we have half a meter in this area is the one that has 1.3 kilos of silver. The mineralization in here has these semi-native sulfides, carbonates, and a little bit of silica quartz. And the mineralization is a higher grade, has a higher content of galena, and so probably some silver sulfur salts. So that's the style of mineralization that we are seeing in this vein of Fierro Bajo. But something interesting, just a few meters away down the hole, we found another structure that is like more than 1 meter thick. And this has a difference, although it has gold, it doesn't have silver, and it has very low gold, but it's interesting because it is a typical upper part of epithermal veins with banded silica, chalcedonic, and hydrothermal breccias. So probably representing a different on our printing of the different mineralizing event, but this event will be less eroded. So it's possible the best part of the mineralization of this event, of this structure, will be deeper. So we will be testing this later. But it's interesting to see next to each other two different styles of mineralization along the veins. Now going to the hole that is 450 meters toward the southeast, we have a sample on the surface of 1.8 kilo in a grab sample. We have another underground working that we access there. We have 1.9 meter there of 1.1 kilo silver equivalent. And now we hit the vein of 0.6 meters of 1.4. Also, so you can see now almost 450 meters along this vein, and now almost 90 meters down deep in the vein. That is proving the continuity of the high-grade mineralization. So I think it's a very good beginning. I'm very happy with these results. This early stage in the exploration of this, we're drilling, and we have a lot of assay pending that will investigate more the continuity of how many kilometers of the veins have continuity of mineralization. What is the thickness of those veins in general? What is the grade average that we see? And we are going to test, the idea is that we are going to test, in this first round, we are drilling a long strike between 50 and 90 meter depth. And we're also going to close this drill season with some 150 meter deep holes. So we're going to test the continuity of the structure also down to a deeper levels. The mineralization in that hole number 2 is very similar to the one that we saw in number 1 in the best grade. Is carbonate, a clay mineral is called elite, a little bit of silica, and galena with sulfosal, a little bit of sphalerite. Very, very similar style of mineralization. So that means that those 450 meters, we're talking about the same pools, the same style of mineralization. Again, something interesting, we found other intervals in this hole that look like the one that the one that had gold with low silver, and they look like upper level epithermal systems that will be probably the continuity of the same structure that we cut in the same hole. This structure needs to be tested deeper because there is a good chance that this one will go into a higher grade, but it has more gold than silver. Now, just moving away, that's what we have from those 2 holes. But like I say, I think it's very encouraging to have the first 2 holes ever drilled in the project with multi-kilometers of vein showing those kind of results. I now show you some photos to show you the different style of mineralization we are seeing in the different drill holes. On the left is one of those small underground, very shallow, like a 20 meters, 10 meters shallow underground workings. And in this case, is the area of like a 1.3 meters, 1.6 meters of 1.3 kilo of silver that we took right here. You can see the structure, you can see the galena, disseminated galena with the clay and carbonate. This is one of the holes that we drilled also in Fierro Bajo. There are pending results. A strong carbonate alteration. The green minerals are elite, a clay mineral, and disseminated galena and sulfosalts. This is Fierro Bajo. But it's interesting, when we go to La Verde, in La Verde, we are finding more strong silicification in the structure. And we are finding more pyrite, a little bit of chalcopyrite. And if you remember in La Verde, we still have a lot of very high silver value, but in La Verde, we have the sample with 16 gram gold and 5 grams gold. So this style of mineralization looks different than this one. We are 7 kilometers away. But it's interesting to see different pulses. Always good in a mineralized system, see that it's not just one event. It's like to see these different events. We also find the style I show you, this more shallow style hydrothermal breccias with chalcedonic silica with gold, low-grade gold so far. And also in the places that we call lagunitas now, lagunitas that is to the north of La Verde, we are finding a very interesting mineralization with a lot of barite and manganese oxides and carbonates, and also some elite with silica, and very structured with a lot of continuity. But we know now, because we are cleaning this with a bulldozer, but at the beginning, there were only a couple outcrops in that area of Lagunilla. So you can see this system now, we not only know the kilometers and the grade, but also we are now understanding the mineralogy and the different pulses of mineralization here that are also a good component of a good district. Now the drilling is going on right now in La Verde. We are drilling one of the holes that will be here now 150 meters deep, cutting the structure 150 meters down plunge. You can see here we're drilling the vein right here, and you can see how the vein is continuing in the other hill. It's outcropping with the dikes. Good place to do exploration. You know, it's easy to build the roads around. It's so it going very well. And to close, again, just a summary here. We started the drilling in February. We finished 20 holes. I already mentioned 2,230 meters of drilling. 2 holes with results. 16 holes are in the lab. So far, 8.5 kilometers of veins. The geophysical survey is helping a lot to define more veins. Very successful. The geophysics will be very successful here. And mapping and trenching is advancing in parallel with the drilling. You can see now El Fierro, the geophysics, the MAC underneath. And this is the new area of Lagunillas I mentioned that we are working right now. So we have a lot of more holes to come, a lot of more results, so a lot of more exciting news coming. And I will be releasing those results as soon as we get them. I think from this point, we are ready to have some questions, Nikki.
Okay, I have a few questions that have come through, so let's start. After this drill program, will the next drill program be testing the vein structures at depth in order to search for a possible feeder system, as well as drilling Fierro Alto and El Verde?
Yeah, the idea with this first round of drilling is to drill the most obvious structure that we knew when we started. Now we know other ones, but the one that we knew when we planned this program. So we are drilling the most obvious structures on Fierro Bajo, en La Verde, and in Fierro Alto. We're going to drill the 3 places. And probably we put a few holes in a new area that we discovered now that's called Lagunillas. So we're going to drill all the areas. We are going to put drill holes along a strike between 450 and 400 meters along a strike, between 50 and 80 meters. And we also are going to include few holes that test to 150 meters down plunge. So with those results, we are going to then get enough information for the second round of drilling, where we're going to come and drill the areas that we consider the best continuity along a strike, hopefully some kilometers or 700 meters. And we tested high grade. So now we're going to go and to put more holes to test continuity and then start having some volume calculated. And then we're going to test not 150, we're going to test to 250 meters to now to add more vertical extension to the veins. And if we have success having mineralization 150 and 250, we should put another couple of holes deeper to 300 meters until we find the root, the bottom of the mineralization.
Okay, fantastic. Next question. Were the remaining holes that are out for assay colored also in the Fierro Baja zone?
No. From the 20 holes that we have, 7 were drilled as Fierro Bajo, and the other 13 are from La Verde. And we are going to have more holes from Fierro Bajo and probably from Lagunillas later.
Okay. Next question. Is the winter approaching now in Argentina such that the next drill program will have to wait?
Yes, this is one of the places in the world, like in Canada, like in the Andes in general, where we stop during the hard part of the winter season. So normally what we do here to be more efficient and have a better result from our money here is to stop drilling somewhere in May, depending how the winter starts. Hopefully we can drill to the end of May, but I don't know, depending, every year is different about the last part of the beginning of the winter. So yes, we stop and then we come back in October. And during that time, during the winter season, we will be receiving a lot of the assays that will be pending. So what we do is we receive all the assays. We with the information that we have with the assays now, we do relogging of the core to really put numbers to the rocks that we see and start understanding, okay, this is the type of material that has a kilo, this is the one that have less than a kilo. So we start modeling all these style of mineralization that I show you there and understanding the relationship. And then with this modeling in sections in 3D, we then understand the significance of these results. And then we plan the next drill season that will start in October. And based on these results, in all this interpretation, we decide how intense is going to be the next drilling stage. If we get results that are really interesting, so we can move faster, we can bring a lot of more rigs and drill and take advantage from October to May to do a lot of more drilling in the next season.
Okay. How does one calculate a resource as the veins are widely separated?
Yeah, in vein fields, the nature of the veins that are separated, they are discrete planar structures. They have a very long horizontal axis. They have a very narrow, along a strike axis, they have a very narrow axis across the vein, and they have a variable axis in the vertical that can go from, a couple of 100 meters. In some cases, like a Buritica in Colombia, they can go to 1,000 meters. So what we do is this is the reason we drill vein A, vein B, the Verde. So we treat every one of those veins as a discrete planar structure. And then with the drilling, we define the average width of those veins. We define how many meters along a strike are mineralized. And then we test a depth, how deep the mineralization extends. So we now have a volume. And in that volume, with the results of the assays, we can calculate the grade. And normally, in veins that are fields that are considered narrow veins, there are veins that vary between 0.5 meters and 1.5 meters. This is normal in many, many gray districts of the world. It's called narrow veins. What you do is between 0.5 and 1.5, you calculate most of your resources at a width that is diluted to 0.8 meter. And that is what is going to be the volume of mineralization that will be considered into a resource that you can extend into each planar structure.
Okay. Next question from Anonymous. First results look great, but veins seem narrow. Could you talk about possible mining methods of that type of vein system?
Yes, they are narrow, but it's non-common. Like I said, you have places like a Silver Crest right now. There is a company that has more than 120 million ounces of silver in Mexico. Great discovery, a company, $1.3 billion value. The veins are between 0.5 and 0.9, and some of them up to 1.5. So basically, what they define is they define a 0.8 meter of mineralization, as I mentioned before, and then they add 20 centimeters on the footwall and 20 centimeters in the hanging wall to do a mining method that can allow long holes and minimum dilution. But you can mechanize that type of width.
Okay. Next question. Does mineralization start from the surface and continue to 90 to 150 meters with around 1 meter width vein?
Yeah, is outcropping in all the veins that we are drilling, and it's going down to 90, let's say 100 at this moment, really. And the width in this moment is vary between like you saw there, in the tunnel that we took was 1.6 meter. In hole number 1 was 1.5 meter, and in hole number 2 is 1 meter. So yes, you're right. It's like a 1 meter average that we'll say that we have. Remember, this is one of the veins that we're testing. Is maybe the next vein that we drill has a different characteristic, but this vein A in Fierro Bajo.
Okay. And last question. Once you find a promising area, will you develop that or sell the property to another company? What is the shareholder value strategy?
In our website, our presentations, always our business plans very well defined. Our mission is to discover ore deposits from very early stage and create a really high value to the shareholders by finding ore deposit that uh, will be of interest for any major or mid-tier company that are miners. And our plan is to exit and to sell the project at the right moment to get the right valuation. So if you can see the numbers that we can dream in this kind of thing is you have companies that are 50 million, $30 million when they are greenfield exploration companies. Then you can see companies that have a project that is advancing with some nice drill holes and has the chance to have a discovery now because the early stage before you have these drill holes, you have ideas, you have dreams, you have properties. Once you start having drill holes in kilometers of vein, you increase your chances of discovery by a lot, but still you are not there yet. And normally the price of the companies jump 3 times or something like that through time when you have a project that is showing that has legs to keep going. And if we can prove that we have one of those deposits that are attractive to a mid company, a mid-tier, or a major, and then is when the big jump comes. The jump can go to 10 times after that level. And this is the type of business plan that we offer to our shareholders, to realize the value at that level and bring the sell and bring the money to the shareholders.
Okay, fantastic. I think that's it for questions. Unless anybody has any last minute ones, I think we can wrap things up, Ruben.
Well, I'd say that thank you very much for being one more time in one of these meetings. I always appreciate your time. And we are working very hard to use the money of the shareholders in the best way that we can. And then the closer that we can to a discovery and the quickest that we can. So thank you very much. Thank you, Nikki, for all the introduction. And
Great.
see you next time with the next assays.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye-bye.